And we are live. All right. Thank you to everyone who's watching us live, and thank you to everyone watching us back as a recording. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you guys joining us. So tonight we're going to talk about the case of Stefanie Dameron, who went missing in New Sweden, Maine. We're joined by advocate Christy, and then also Stefanie's dad, Christopher, has also joined us. So thank you, boys, for both for coming on here.
Welcome.
So I want to say before we start off, there's been a lot of people talking negatively about the family. It's my belief that if the police department really thought that you guys were involved, they would have named you as suspects, right? I can't imagine what you guys are going through, and we just kind of want to hear what you have to say as well. Like you just joined us late here, so we didn't really have much time to talk before.
Well, Well, it's already known. I don't do the social media. My Facebook is set to private. I post things on there for my wife when she's out and about. Other than that, I don't do the social media or any of this. So I'm sorry I'm a little late on that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We're appreciative that you can even join us at all. So
yeah. So I guess Chris, if you want to start,
Christopher, please, sir. Chris was my grandmother.
Okay, Christopher. If you could start and just tell us about Stefanie growing up. There will be some images of her on here, so I just wanted to prepare you for that because we didn't get a chance to let you know that as well.
Well, I don't have my glasses on, so I probably won't be able to see too much anyway, sir.
Yeah.
Okay,
so just tell us about Stefanie. What kind of child is she?
She was our handful, always into things, always into mischief, always, she was always doing her own thing. Not really per se a loner, but when she had enough of being around people, she would find her own thing and do her own thing. She always dealt with herself, but all our kids were raised independent. They were all raised free spirits, but she was a happy kid, always happy. We raised our kids to be themselves, plain and simple. We tried to do the public schools. Public schools was never happy for them, so we brought them home out of public school. But I don't really want to know. I don't know what you really want to know about her as a younger child, because all our kids were happy. I mean, everybody wants to keep bringing up the CPS situation, and it's a known fact. We chose to live the way we did, off grid, off the beaten path and everything. CPS is a fact of life when you live like this. We've had CPS in our life from day one that we decided to go off grid, because according to Texas, you can't raise a child off grid because you can't provide all the proper environmental stimulants. But that's one of the reasons why we moved to Maine.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that too, right? Anyone that does things a little bit untraditional, they might, the CPS would probably want to come in and double check on things. And
well, it's common sense to tell you, if a child's going to be abused, living like we do is going to be the number one place. So you're going to expect CPS. They're going to want to verify all that, because if something happens, it all comes right back to them. Just like when Stefanie went missing. When she went missing, we knew instantly that we were going to have CPS at the door. No problem. We have everything verifiable. We have all their schoolwork verifiable. We have everything. We live in a 200 square foot home that has 4 separate bedrooms, if you can believe that. They're talking about this being a yurt. It is a yurt. It's a hexa yurt built out of OSB and everything else, just like a normal house.
Okay.
And you guys, that's wildly different than the way it sounded before. That it was,
they
really
got us made out that we're living in a tent in the woods, and basically a meth shack.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of what it almost sounded like. So that's wildly different than what we had heard before. So I'm happy to hear that.
You guys have
and
a
I'll be honest with you, sir. To be honest with you, we have CPS out here. We know for a fact twice a year CPS is going to knock on our door. And I mean, we've been here for 4 years, and twice a year for 4 years, CPS has always come out here. They've always been amicable. We've always, everything. Where's the school lessons? Where's they're going to take a bath? Where's the bathroom? Where's this? And we always have it nailed down to the letter. They want to bring up the CPS case in Texas. No, I'm not proud of what happened in Texas. I lost my kids for 6 months in Texas, all because I smoked the joint in Walmart parking lot while my wife was in Walmart. They followed me all the way from Nacogdoches, Texas to Rusk, Texas, waited till I walked in the McDonald's to buy my kids McDonald's, and then they hammered us. And all because my wife was driving the vehicle that I was smoking a joint in. They nailed my wife and me and said it was endangering a child. That's the whole case in CPS. By the time that case in by the time the case in CPS was done, it didn't take me 18 months to get my kids back, which is the normal. I had my kids back in 6 months, passed every drug test they ever threw at me. Never had a problem with them. By the time I was done, the lady that took and got involved in my kids' case trumped up a bunch of lies and everything. She lost her job. The CPS office in Livingston, Texas was under investigation, and the judge completely threw the case out.
Okay. Yeah, they don't, and that's the thing too, is once you lose custody of your kids, like, you have to be a shining example before you get them back. So
exactly.
Like,
and for me to get my kids back in 6 months,
right.
you know, something's not adding up to the facts that people are trying to spread.
Right.
Yeah.
We do have a comment on here. Team Stefanie, that's the Facebook page. They're asking, how are Stefanie's siblings doing with her being missing?
They're tore up. You know, they all my kids, when we live, the way we live, all our kids has got a certain role in the family. You know, I've got my troublemaker, which is my son. We've got the ornery one, which is Star. And then we got Stefanie, which she's always the one that's, to put it politely, she's the class clown. And we don't have our class clown here no more. We don't have the cutting up and for a lack of better words, we don't have the stupid things happening anymore. And it's threw our family out of balance. It's completely thrown our family out of balance.
So for anyone that isn't familiar with the case, can you tell us what happened the night of September 23rd, 2024? I
honestly don't know. And that's what people don't want to understand. Me and my wife had gone to Presque Isle. We'd gone to job interviews, which has been verified by state troopers, FBI, and local cops. They all knew we were there. That night that I went there to Presque Isle to go to that job interview, something happened here, an argument between her older sister and her. Whatever that argument was, we're still trying to figure it out because we still don't have all the facts that went on between that argument between her older sister and her. By the time I got home, that argument had blown up. Okay, now our kids were always taught, don't throw the first punch, but don't throw the last one, and walk off when you can. Well, Stefanie usually walks off, goes and takes a couple hours, chill pill, you know, sits down we got a little pond down here by our place. We own 25 acres, and we know that we live in northern Maine. This is, I'm trying to put this politely because I know I'm on public broadcast.
No, you can
but we live on 25 acres in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this is literally where they pump the moonshine out and the sunshine in. So our kids have been taught about the woods, every square inch of it. What's poison oak? What's poison ivy? Don't eat the berries. Don't do this. So, you know, Stefanie taking off in the woods for a couple hours. We figured she'd found something out in the woods to keep herself interested, get her mind back up. And by the time we got home, she would be back. By the time we got home, she wasn't back. I didn't start panicking until about 12, 13 hours. Well, when I was always raised up, and I just found out that this was the biggest lie I was ever taught growing up, I was always told that your child had to be missing 24 hours before you called the state police. I dealt with that situation.
There's a lot of people that heard that like nonsense, and unfortunately, and that's what a lot of people base their reporting off from.
Well, I was actually told that by Texas State Police with another situation that, hey, you can't report anyone missing until they're missing for 24 hours. That was Texas State Police that told me that. So I've always gone on that simple situation. And I waited 24 hours, and then thank God Jared got involved, because Jared is about the only one that's sticking to this and doing his job because he's staying on top of everything. But Jared informed me that I should have called instantly, and I didn't know. Okay, that's on me. I made that mistake. I own that. But the rest of this, I did not make no mistakes.
So you said that she got in a fight with her sister. Do you know what the fight was about?
I honestly, at this point, don't know. You got one that's turning 18 and one that's turning 14. They're constantly bickering about something. It could be the color of the sky one minute, and then it could be a cup of coffee the next minute.
But you must have asked her when you got home, right?
Yes, we asked, and we get one story that it was about that Stefanie wasn't doing her chores, and then supposedly Star said something to Stefanie, and then it was it's been 18 million things, but the main gist was that Stefanie was doing something. Star wanted her to do something else, and Stefanie wouldn't do it. Star said something mean to her, and it hurt Stefanie's feelings. That's what I'm getting from the basic conversation.
So, and who was home when she walked out?
My father. Were you home, Bubby?
No, he was at job. He was at work.
My father, her younger sister, her older sister, Star, and her brother.
All right, and she didn't say anything to anyone when she left. She just
looked at her grandfather and told her grandfather, "I'll be back," and she never came back.
And what time of day was that this happened?
About my job interview was at about 3:30. I'd say.
No, your job interview was at
my job okay, so this had to happen about 3:30 then.
And sorry,
you're good. Well, now there was we'd heard that there was like potentially a cell phone involved, right? That she might have gotten a hold of someone that picked her up.
The story with the cell phone and all these cell phones going around and everything, that part of the whole thing is so discombobulated, it's not even funny. The only one that has a cell phone is my grandfather. My kids are not allowed on cell phones or on any kind of media because of the simple fact that we monitor it all. I'm not going to lie. We monitor. We don't want our kids watching certain things on YouTube. We don't want them to have free access to open up X videos because it's just there. So no, none of our kids have phones or anything like that. But apparently Stefanie, we did not know this. Stefanie was sneaking around when Papa was taking his sleeping pills and we weren't around because my dad is 80 years old, just had a massive heart attack about a year and a half ago. So they got him on sleeping pills and a bunch of heart pills. What Stefanie was doing, and her older sister was involved in it just as much. They were waiting until Papa took his sleeping pills or wasn't paying attention. They would sneak off with his phone, get on some kind of weird website, which we didn't even know was possible because we're not talking about a cell phone. We're talking about a flip phone. The old school 3G beta flip phones that's not supposed to be internet accessible or anything. They found a way to get on the internet, get onto some dating website where you can swap numbers. They swapped numbers with these people. They started calling back and forth with these different numbers, didn't know who they were calling, and it led to this. And we had no idea none of this was going on behind our backs.
So do you guys think that's what happened? Is that she might have like communicated with someone and they stopped to pick her up?
The harsh reality of it is I don't think she's anywhere in New Sweden. I believe she walked out to the end of the driveway and exactly like you guys said, had somebody on there that she found a number and they swapped numbers back and forth and she met him up at the top of the road.
Now, was there any call logs on the phone who she might have contacted? Or
that's
do you think
the thing
it was
about
like
it is
within the messages?
Jared of the state police, the FBI's, they have some weird name for it, but it does all their computer cyber crimes and all that. Everybody has tried to crack that phone and nobody can crack it. Everybody has tried to crack it and nobody can crack that phone because their technology, as I was specifically told by the FBI, their technology is actually too advanced for that phone.
Oh, so like it's outdated, antiquated, sort of.
Yeah.
On the phone itself.
Yes.
Okay.
This phone was actually supposed to be traded in 4 years ago, and we never did. It's always done my dad good. My dad only needs a phone to dial 911, nothing else, and it's always called us, dialed 911. So why did he need a new phone?
So, Christopher, let me ask you this. You and your wife were living somewhere else for a while, right? While the kids were still with Grandpa at the yurt or the house?
Not the kids. The oldest two, Stefanie and Star. Because like I explained, their grandfather had a massive heart attack about a year and a half ago. We were staying in a fifth wheel about a half mile, maybe a quarter mile. It's in between a quarter. I can walk from there and back, even with my gimped up ass. So we were walking back and back and forth because honestly, we didn't even have a vehicle at the time. That's why we were stuck in the situation we were in, trying to get a vehicle ahead and everything. But yes, we were living in a fifth wheel down the street, trying to get this place fixed up a little bit better than it was because, hey, you live like we do. I'm going to keep bringing it up since everybody else went. We got CPS in the door all the time. And the situation with the house, it was getting a little nervous for me and my wife. We knew it needed repairs. The fifth wheel had everything that needed to make everybody happy. All the 3-letter agencies were going to be happy with it. So we took the 3 youngest ones. We were staying up there to where everything was normal and everything was under control while we fixed this one. While we were down here fixing this one, Papa was staying down here because we have some major problems with our neighbors. So they were staying down here. Star and Stefanie were staying down here with their grandfather, helping take care of him. We were coming back and forth every day, doing everything we needed to do when we could and everything like that.
So you mentioned problems with the neighbors. What were the problems with the neighbors in case it has something to do with this case?
Well, I really don't want to mention names, but if you pull up any records, you're going to find it. So I'll just go ahead and say the names. I've got one neighbor on the other side of me that is Art. He owns like 5-10 acres on one side of me. He hates the fact that I bought this piece of property because we live like children of the corn, his exact words. Him and his wife have called CPS so much that CPS has literally got them on a block list now.
Wow.
My other neighbor is Doug. He's ticked off because he was waiting for this piece of property to drop because it was a rent-to-own property, and he was waiting on the price of this property to drop. Well, before the price of the property dropped to where he wanted to buy it, I bought it and I almost have it paid off now. So he hates me for that.
Right.
Okay.
But not this.
See, it's not all cupcakes and kittens and black and white like all these people want to make up these stories about.
Right, and that's what sucks about social media is people think they're detectives and run their mouths, and then all of a sudden it becomes like first it's a little story somewhere in a thread, and then it becomes the truth, down the road because people are saying, "Well, I read it here and I read it there." So we do.
Yeah,
all
they
have
read
to
it
be
enough
careful
times,
with
and
that.
they assume that I've heard it enough times where it must be true, right? When that's quite obviously not the fucking case.
Exactly. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Because that's like the ground searches. I have participated in it. Jared can verify at the FBI. I have participated in the ground searches when they were out here. At one point in time, we had a helicopter and a drone over our property. This is how intense the ground searches were at one point in time. With the helicopter and the drone and the helicopter almost collided. They had to ground the drone just so the helicopter could keep searching. At one point in time, I had Jared out here with his dog. I had DNR or game warden. I keep calling them DNR because down in Texas they're DNR. Game warden up here with their dog, and the FBI up here with the dog team, all at the same time. And I've got a yard full of bullies. So, I mean, ground searches and everything. They're saying they're not being done. They're not. We're doing them. We're doing everything.
Yeah, and that's a thing all in its own right. Is when during a situation like this, anyways, like. People will look at the family and I mean I understand the perspective of it, right? They'll see a family who's grieving and they think, well, if I was in that situation, I would 100% be out there. But no one knows how they're going to react in a situation like that, right? Like,
right.
I would like to say I would 100% be out there if something was happening with one of my kids, but you don't know unless you're in that scenario what's going to be happening anyways. Like some people do get that urge that they 1000% devote their entire existence to doing nothing but trying to find their kids. But some people are like, situations are just different for different people, right? So, sometimes the stress just gets to be too much, or there's a physical limitation to how much can actually be done, but I understand.
I mean, if I walk out of here once a week to go with my wife to pay bills, and then it takes me 2 weeks to recover from that, so I can walk back out of here. Once every 2 weeks is all I leave my house. That's it.
Wow.
That's how bad my back and my hip and leg is and everything. I am completely fused from the middle of my spine down to my right hip. I have no right hip. My right knee is completely shot. I mean, I can't even walk. You should see me. If I was to walk in front of you, you would ask, how am I even standing?
Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
But I keep up going. I'm still walking. You know, I'm not in a wheelchair like they want to put me. I'm not, none of that. I got kids that need to be raised. I got a wife that needs to be taken care of. I ain't got time to lay down and quit. And I got a daughter that needs to be found.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask about the older kids who are staying with the grandfather, or is it their grandfather, or is he blood relative, or is he just a friend?
As far as I'm concerned, he's grandfather. He has been there since the day the first one of these babies dropped out.
Right, right. Like really strong family friend, but I mean close enough to family, but just not blood. That's all.
No, he's not. Maybe not the same blood, but blood don't make family, sir. With all due respect.
No. I trust me. I understand. Like that's how my family is. I have people that I've known since I was born that I call aunt and uncle and this and that, and they're nowhere near related, but they've always been around. So I understand how that works.
Yeah. So at this point, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. Stefanie has walked out of the house. When were you notified that she hadn't come back?
Within a half hour.
So she had left the house mad, and then within a half hour, someone called you and told you that?
No, somebody sent me a text message that Star and Stefanie were into it and arguing and fighting again.
Okay. Who sent you that message? Was that one of your children?
Was it? Who sent me that message?
It was Star that sent the message.
Actually, Star sent me the message.
She ran off to the neighbor's too.
And Star sent a message to her mother saying that she had gone to the neighbor's house.
Okay. So that's just what you guys assumed, that she was just like hanging out at the neighbor's place then.
Right. And that's, as a matter of fact, because Star even told her mother, and I now I do remember the conversation, but Star even told her mother that she was going to go to the neighbor's house to see if she could find Stefanie. And we knew the situation that was going to do nothing but make it worse. If she was over at the neighbor's house, she was going to stay there. So we figured, okay, let her stay there until we got home. And then we got sorted out then. But when we got home, she wasn't at the neighbor's house.
And that wasn't uncommon, right? If for her to get in a little tiff or whatnot, and then just kind of disappear for a
like
few
I said,
hours.
they're two older sisters. They're only 13 and 18. They're not but a few years apart. They're going to fight, and they're too much alike. You put two people that are exactly the same, that think the same and everything, in the same room, two armed together. What's going to happen?
Christopher, I have a twin brother. I know exactly what's going to happen.
Then you know.
I used to fight all the time as kids. I do have a question here. Paula is asking, what phone was the message sent from if they didn't have phones? So I'm assuming it was
sent from our grandfather's phone. It was sent from grandfather's phone.
So you and Lisa both have phones then that they could reach out to you?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, Mom has a phone. I don't carry a phone.
Okay. And you guys were at a job interview, right?
Yes, at Ruby Tuesdays in Prescott, which has been verified, which I got the job, and then David Philbrook over there found out about everything going on with my daughter, the social media, all the wonderful thing, and he ends up firing me from over there because he didn't want my negative reputation affecting Ruby Tuesday because they were going through a tough time.
Wow. That's not what he told you, right? He came up with some other reason.
Oh, he came up. I've got verified. What happened was I ended up not being able to show up for work for 2 days because we got hit with 2 foot of snow one day, got it cleared out. I almost was ready to go to work. And then as soon as I was getting ready to go to work, we got hit with another 1.5 foot, and I had to dig out again. I've got the text messages to verify that he said my job was fine. Just worry about taking care of everything, get my vehicle out and everything. And then I show up to work the next day and I'm fired. And I can even post text messages of him telling me that my job was fine and everything.
Wow. Yeah. That's unreal. So you guys what time did you guys get home, do you think?
What was that, sir?
What time do you think you got home that night?
It was about 5:30. It wasn't very long because as soon as I got out of the job interview and my wife told me what was going on at the house, we came straight home.
Good. And you guys looked for her that night, I assume, right?
Yes, of course, all night long. We were up and down the roads, driving up and down every back alley and everything.
Did you find anything like footprints?
No, and no, we did not find nothing. Absolutely nothing.
What was that, Jeff?
I don't even remember now.
So I've heard different things. I heard that someone saw her walking into the woods. I heard that someone saw her walking down the driveway. I've heard that maybe a car was heard speeding off
Okay.
soon after she went out.
Let me put this all in the exact facts of how it is in the police record. The way our house is set up, our driveway goes up and curves around. If you're walking out of here, you're going to add another 200 yards if you walk down the driveway. If you're walking, the easy way is to walk through the woods and then up the driveway, because the way the driveway, it fish hooks. So if you just cut off the tip of the fish hook, you can walk through the woods and hit the driveway. Okay. That's what everybody said that she did. She walked out through the woods, hit the driveway, and headed up. Then everybody swears up and down that they heard something like a mini bike, four-wheeler or something in that time frame, but they can't verify whether it stopped at our driveway, took off from our driveway, or anything like that.
How far as a crow flies, right? So for directly from the house, if you go through the woods and hit the driveway, how far is the road from you guys' house in a straight line?
A little over a quarter mile.
Okay, so it is still a bit of a distance.
Well, yeah, because of this here, like the FBI and the state police, all everybody's done is proven that the reason why we live so far back in the woods is because of this. We don't want people driving by judging us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't blame you there.
Because like one of you said earlier, when you do things a little untraditional, everybody wants to instantly call somebody to verify something.
Robin's asking, who specifically heard the four-wheeler or the motorcycle?
Grandfather heard it. And Star heard it. I've got all of them sitting around me. They're all trying to tell me I'm speaking for everybody in my family right now, sir.
No.
Sorry.
Awesome.
No,
You're fine.
I can appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you for doing this. Like I said, I know this is kind of last minute for you.
I'm going to be honest with you, sir. If it wasn't for I don't care what's said about me. I really don't. I'm from Rhode Island. I don't know if anybody here knows anything about Rhode Island. There's not too much you can say about me that's going to hurt my feelings or even make me worry about it. But when you start dragging my wife's name through the mud, telling people that, oh, I seen your wife out and she was all happy and giddy and everything with you, I don't see how anybody seen me and my wife out, because the only person my wife goes out with is our 21-year-old son.
And this is something I'd heard soon afterwards. Tawny's asking here, was the argument between Stefanie and her sister actually about running away, possibly?
It could have been. Because at this point, I hate talking about one of my kids any way, shape, or form. But I really, at this point, don't trust anything that Star's telling me about the whole situation.
Really? So even to this day, she hasn't clarified anything for you?
No, and neither does Jared, neither does the FBI.
So what time did you guys call the police? I know you said you got home 5:30, you searched for a while. Was it soon after you got home you called the police, or did you really wait the next day to call them?
I called the police at 11 o'clock the next morning.
Okay.
And explained to them that I know it wasn't 20. I explained to them that it wasn't 24 hours, all that and everything. And then they had somebody out here within, I wasn't even off the phone with them before they had someone out here.
Good. So they responded quickly. They took it seriously.
Yeah, everybody's dogging out the state police and everything. There's one state trooper, which I won't mention his name out of respect for Jared. There is one state trooper up there that is nothing but a low-life piece of shit. He's a liar. Okay, because he sat there and came in my house, said that my house was this, that it was all dogged out and everything like that. And it was nothing but lies. But other than that, one state trooper, the state police have done everything. They have bent over backwards. They have gone through the extra efforts. They have done everything. They have literally turned over every stone pretty much in New Sweden with helicopters, drones. They have brought private people in to do it. State police have done everything they possibly can.
Wow.
I did have one more quick question. Well, two quick questions, and they're not related at all. But the when they let you go from Ruby Tuesdays, when was that? Was that like a couple months after, I assume?
That was right before Christmas.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And the other thing,
Just
I know
they let me go just as all these negative, nasty rumors started.
right. Now I know that she headed out towards the road, but I assume that you guys must have like a bunch of like ATV trails around your property, right?
With all due respect, sir, this is northern Maine. You can't walk 100 feet without there being an ATV trail.
Right. Was that something that she frequented? Did she try out like hike on the trails a lot?
No, we always kept our kids off the trails because the trails up here, if I had known who was living up here at the time I moved up here, I probably wouldn't have bought this piece of property. But there's some very interesting characters up here.
Okay, people you wanted them to stay away from?
Yes, I don't want my kids near the ATV trails because I was warned about one particular person up here to stay as far away from them as I could. And I was told that the ATV trails and a certain road around here was associated with this person and the people they hang out with. So I was like, hey, you know what? We got 25 acres. You kids stay on your property. That's all that matters.
Right. We do have a question here from Melissa Dar. Do you know if Stefanie or Star like knew any local boys? Did she ever meet anyone local, or were they friends with anyone?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But like I said, a lot was going on behind my back that I didn't realize was going on too.
So, when you say that, what do you mean? What else is going on behind your back?
When we were staying down there at that fifth wheel, that was the situation I was talking about. When we were staying down there at that fifth wheel, and Star and Stefanie were up here supposedly taking care of their grandfather, and we were going back and forth. When we weren't here, like I explained, they were waiting until grandfather took his heart pills and his sleeping pills and everything. Because I don't know if anybody knows anything about Soma. When Papaw takes his Soma, he's out. He's gone. He's comatose for 8 hours. There's no waking him up. There's no nothing. And they were waiting until he took a sleeping pill, grabbing his phone out from underneath his pillow and everything, and then getting involved in all this other garbage, talking to these boys and everything. My son's 21 years old. He can verify this. He's 21 years old. And I told him until he can buy his own phone, pay his own phone bill, he don't get a phone. He don't get to date or nothing. Well, he's still 21 years old and he's still not dating.
So Stefanie was 13 at the time. How old was your other daughter that was staying there at the house?
17.
Okay.
So she's quite a bit older.
Yes. They're not babies. I was not leaving babies up here like everybody's making out that I was just abandoning my kids on an 80-year-old geriatric.
Yeah. Now, and this is just something I wanted to say in general, and this is to like people watching as well, but like the whole purpose of all of this, right, is we're all here for one reason, and that's to try and find Stefanie, right? So
yes.
Like I know that there's like negative this, negative that, back and forth, or maybe not necessarily back and forth. It obviously seems like there's a lot more directed towards you guys, but I would like to see even the people who have shit to talk. Like I would like to see everyone trying to work together on this. Like it blows my mind. That's
exactly my point, sir. That's exactly my point. Instead of putting all this negativity towards judging us, judging that, put that energy into finding my daughter. All I want is my daughter home where she belongs, where I can take care of her, where I know everything that needs to be done is being taken care of on her. I ain't got to worry about, is she underneath the bridge? Is she in the back of some dude's car? Is she getting traded for this? Or is she, strung out on drugs in some crack house? Right. Instead of putting all this negative energy and talking shit about us, help us find our daughter. My wife is a complete mental wreck right now without her baby.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know what that's like, but I can only imagine. And what I'm getting at with this is like it blows my mind how often something like this happens and it turns into a scenario for people to attack each other, and rather than working for like the common goal, which is to try and find the person that's missing. So people who are have like some shit to talk, maybe like let's table that. If you have opinions on something, whatever, but and I don't know how willing you are to work with other people on this, like allow conversations to happen. I don't know what that's been like. I assume that you're probably not speaking too much to many people.
I don't speak to nobody but Jared.
Okay. So is there any chance of you potentially like trying to help the people that are trying to help you? And I don't know, like, I assume you're probably not a fan of
As
people
long as
coming
it's not
on your
Ashley
property.
or any of her, as long as it's not Ashley or any of her associates, I will pretty much work with anybody or Whitney.
So I think this is a good time for me to interrupt. Christopher, I'm Christy. We haven't met. I'm representing Team Stefanie tonight, and I kind of help on the media side of things. I'm wondering if there's anything specific that you want Team Stefanie to be doing to help find your daughter, and if there's anything specific that you're really bothered by that people are doing to help find your daughter.
I want her face out there. I mean, everybody's doing everything they can, but everybody's getting blindsided by all this negative BS being said. Instead of us, okay, we get a sighting or something. Is one person says a sighting on the Facebook, like on your website for one, somebody got a sighting, and then right after that sighting, there's 18 million comments about how negative we are, and then that one sighting is drowned out by all the negativity. How is that helping Stefanie?
Is there a specific sighting that you've seen that happen with?
No, my wife just recently got one from somebody that she was seen down in Massachusetts somewhere that we called Jared about.
Okay.
But it's happened in the beginning. It happened a couple times, and Jared was on it.
Okay, and then as far as certain volunteers and association with them and you having an issue, is there something that is bothering you?
Other than, I'm going to say it, and I'm sorry if they're listening and I hurt their feelings, but Ashley and Whitney are full of shit.
Okay. And
About what?
I'll just say it right here.
That?
What has shut me down? Which one was it that claimed they found Eric Foose?
Whitney.
Whitney claims that she found Eric Foose, that she did this big search party to find Eric Foose. The only problem is, I know Eric Foose's family. I also spoke to Jared about it. Jared went back and double checked everything. Eric Foose was found by a passerby at the bridge in Presque Isle. Caribou. My bad. My wife's correcting me.
Going to Presque Isle off the bridge there to turn at Caribou, going to Presque Isle the back way.
Yeah, did they say his name? Who found him?
No, they did not.
But it was not
Okay.
Whitney,
But it was not Whitney.
because I spoke to the detective about it.
Was it her boyfriend?
I'm not sure, sir. I'm really not sure.
I'll tell you offline his name and see if that rings a bell.
Okay.
So
Yeah, 'cause
That's just
we were in
like
contact
my
with
wife.
her around that
My
time.
wife just hold on one second, sir. My wife just recently informed me that is it Whitney that is friends with the kid that's best friends with the other guy.
I really don't want to bring it into it, but it's
No names, babe.
her boyfriend is friends with that person that is under investigation over this.
As a matter of fact, her boyfriend is friends with one of the people that's under investigation for all this. That has got red flags all over him.
for Stefanie's disappearance?
Yeah.
So what kind of red flags on this guy?
This guy is involved in if there's something that's been criminally done, everything from stripping wire out of the closed down school up here to cars coming up missing and drugs and everything else.
And other than the people we're speaking of right now, are there any other people from town in your mind that should be concerning?
No, sir. I mean, no, ma'am. Sorry.
That's fine. And as far as spring search efforts go, I know you're saying that you really want help finding Stefanie. Is there something specific that you're hoping to see?
What do you repeat that, ma'am? My phone's breaking up.
Something specific that you're hoping to see as far as spring efforts to look for Stefanie? Is it just sharing her flyer, or are you willing to help with searchers in your area?
Me and my son did help with the first ground search.
Me and my wife and my son. My wife has been my legs and my eyes through this whole situation because my legs are shot. I cannot walk.
And I should say, I do know that you guys were there for the original search back last fall. I'm thinking of spring and what's coming up this year. How can volunteers best help?
As long as it's on the weekends, my wife and son are more than willing to help.
All right,
Okay.
good. So has she ever run away before, Christopher?
No, all kids run away and hide underneath the table. I mean, the only
Right.
difference is My kids' table is a 25 acre. They'll take a sheet out in the woods and, go out there for an hour or so. We'll know where they are because the dogs will let us know where they are. If it comes down too much, I'll turn the dogs loose and the dogs will go find them. But no, not run away.
And so I can clear up some questions in the comments. People are curious why we're discussing Whitney. Whitney was previously on the podcast. She's a volunteer from the community that has helped with Stefanie's case and had previously appeared here on Locating the Lost on a past episode for Stefanie. And that's what he's referencing here and who he is referencing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not saying no last names because I'm trying to at least be that much respectful.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go ahead.
No,
What's the
good.
story about? I've heard the story multiple times that possibly she ran away and tried to break into someone's vehicle or pickup or something.
And that's all a bunch of bullshit, sir. That was some guy up the road. She was not breaking into his vehicle. She was caught up there, walking around, standing out in front of his yard and stuff like that. But she was not trying to break into anybody's.
That had been proven false by.
And that's been proven false because Jared spoke to the guy that they say she broke into his car.
So he brought her home to you, though? He brought her back to your house?
Nope.
So she just walked back home?
She walked back home. He's in the neighborhood.
All right. I'm trying to read some of these comments here, too, as we talk. Sorry.
Anything you want to ask me, as long as I get a chance to get the verified facts, so we can start, instead of putting this negative energy towards judging us and put it towards finding my daughter. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I want to do as well. Like, I'm not about just tearing people up, and especially family. Like, I'm so concerned about stating my opinions if I think something's going on, because I don't know. I wasn't there. So I don't want to start slamming family members just assuming that they're involved.
And I'm wondering, so Stefanie's taken off before, and I'm assuming she was in good physical shape. Do you have an idea of how far she could have walked if she had really gone on foot and continued on, As a teenage girl, I'm sure I could have gone a number of miles. I'm just curious if you have an idea of how far she's gone in the past or how far she may have gone, what you think.
Well, see, that's the sick, twisted thing about it in this day and age, ma'am. My daughter can walk miles. I mean, they live off grid. Everything is strenuous, physical. So walking, if you put one of my kids in her direction, they could probably walk forever. That ain't what scares me, is her walking off, getting halfway to Caribou or getting halfway to Presque Isle, which my daughter could easily walk to Presque Isle. It might take her all day long, but she could. What I'm worried about is somebody stopping along the way and offering her a ride.
And what is
it's not the walking that scares me.
What has
Right.
Jared and the FBI said about that? Do they believe that she's been picked up?
Yes.
So he unequivocally said this is their theory, that she's been picked up and possibly taken out of state or to Canada or what?
Well, it's an ongoing investigation, so I can't say a lot. All I can what I've been told is that there is absolutely zero physical evidence in the area to show that she was anywhere in the area. The only thing that shows is a track or a trail that goes up to the head of the driveway and then disappears.
Do you think that there's any possibility that Stefanie had a phone that no one knows about?
Yes. At this point, yes.
And what was the cell service like at your property? So it's been said that there's not service or that there's minimal service.
If you don't have T-Mobile, you're lucky to have service.
Okay. And then
Or Starlink.
Most of you use T-Mobile to be able to keep a cell connection out there, and the Starlink is what you use for Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Okay.
We literally live in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, shoot. So many comments in here.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I'm wondering, when she first took off, did you check with neighbors to see if they had seen her, if she had gone there in a similar way that she had shown up at that other gentleman's house?
Within the first half hour of me being home, I had already knocked on at least every door between here and the beginning of the road on one way and the creek turn off the other way.
And did any of those neighbors volunteer to come out and help you look for Stefanie? Or
No, they're not going to, ma'am. They're not going to.
Because they won't even.
They're not going to because of all the negative rumors Art and Doug have spread about us.
Gotcha.
The only
Art
one in New
wasn't the
Sweden,
guy
the only
that
one
we-
in New Sweden that don't talk bad about us is Teresa at the town hall.
Art was he wasn't the one that was speaking last time when we did this.
No, that was Andrew.
Was it Andrew? Okay.
Do you still have a relationship with Andrew at this point?
I have a relationship with Andrew. My wife and daughter have a better relationship with him at this point than I do.
Is that because of everything that's happened after?
It's
Stephanie
a
went
lot.
missing?
It's a lot of reasons. It's a lot of personal reasons, sir.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And if volunteers wanted to search on your property again and they weren't associated with people that you have concerns about, is that an opportunity that would be available, or is that something you're saving for the Maine State Police and the FBI to do?
The state police and the FBI don't want my property touched by anybody but them at this point until they can get better out here with better searches and everything like that. Because as soon as the snow melts and everything, Jared has got a whole bunch planned, and the FBI or Jose has a whole bunch planned out here.
That is awesome news. Good.
Okay.
Glad to hear it.
Like I said, the state police have Jared is literally a part of my family now. He comes out here, sits with me, talks with me, explains everything with me. All I got to do is call the man up right now and say, "Hey, Jared, I'd like to see you." He'll walk in up my driveway all the way back here and sit down with me and have coffee, and we'll talk about everything about Stefanie. Jared has not hid anything.
So what is your thoughts, Christopher? Where do you think Stefanie went? Do you think someone picked her up? Do you think she's in the woods?
I honestly think that she got picked up by somebody. She thought she was going to come home that night, and they didn't bring her home.
And unfortunately, that's
what
a
I
real reality that we live in. That is possible with everything that we see that happens.
That's why I
around.
left Texas. That's why I left Texas. It's because when Biden opened up the border, we had kids getting kidnapped at Walmart at least once a week. And I've got one daughter that's blonde hair, blue eyed, beautiful little baby. She's perfect border bait.
So we have there's a lot of people working behind the scenes to try and help you guys. I want to make it clear that we have updated the timeline. I know that you've probably seen some of the media that we create and what we share for Stefanie. We've updated the timeline specifically because there were aspects on it that we found to not be credible. And because of that, certain statements were removed. And I just want you to be assured that the people working behind the scenes to help find Stefanie aren't associated with anybody that they shouldn't be associated with, including the people you've named.
Thank you.
You have concerns, and you don't want people involved with the aspects of Stefanie's case that we are involved in. We're going to respect that. But it's also very difficult for us to do that without knowing who is who and what's what. So part of that means open communication and us knowing what's going on. So like for me here today, this is the first I've been able to hear from either you or your wife that there was an issue with a previous member of the team. And of course, I'm sure that you have other friends or people you know that you've communicated that with. But I just want to make sure it's clear and it's coming from me that we know that you had concerns and that we had concerns as well. And we've done the due diligence to look into them, and we're no longer associating.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
My wife has something. Hold on one second, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
What, babe?
With the problem I have with Whitney, and I have just found this has been brought to my attention recently with a lady that I keep in touch with that has been helping me through this and stuff. She is in your group. I'm not mentioning no names though, but she has been a big support for me. Whitney had this going on that the searches were stopped last time because something about somebody in my family or relatives or something like that. Our family was supposed to have been threatened, or some gentleman by Ryan, I think Hudson, his last name.
No last names.
Sorry, but Ryan, he had nothing to do with the threats or anything. She was supposed to went down to the police department, made a report. Well, all that has come out that it has been nothing but lies. This is why I do.
This
is why I don't.
We've contacted Maine State Police, we've contacted the Aroostook County Sheriff's Department, and we've contacted the Caribou Police, and we have also verified whether reports were made, and we've taken all of that into consideration. So,
well, I understand that, but that's what caused all the searches to be stopped last year instead of the searches going on is her lies. That has took, and I don't know how to explain it. It's heartbreaking because if the searches would have been able to go on without her lying, we may have been able to find something sooner.
Stacy, I got a comment here from Stacy Baker. She said, "I'm so glad Christopher is on here for this. We really need him to come on and talk. Thank you, Christopher."
Well, I just want to. I mean, when this all started, I told my wife, with all due respect, I understand some of you guys out there on the social media aren't bad. I totally understand that. But I told my wife from the beginning, okay, state police is doing their job. If they hadn't been doing their job, I would have been the first one to stand on the mountainside to scream, somebody help me. But the state police were doing their job. I mean, my literally the airspace above my property literally was like an airport for almost a week straight. I mean, we had planes flying over, we had helicopters and everything else, and then she starts in on this, and then it's just like it takes a total different turn. This is what I'm talking about, the negative stigmatism that needs to stop. Let's get it all pointed in the right direction. Let's not sink the Titanic on an iceberg.
Lynn Spencer says, "My heart breaks for her mom. My goodness, I couldn't imagine. Poor honey, prayers. Your baby girl gets found and brought home." I think that's what everyone wants, is to see Stefanie come home.
Yeah, and again, I know I kind of hammered on this again before, but like we need to try and be working together on this stuff. Anyone like the personal attacks and lying, like it's one thing to have opinions on things, right? But unless you can verify any of the stuff that you have to say, like try and keep it to yourself. You're not going to do anything but hurt the people involved. You're not helping find Stefanie, right? And yeah, I just want everyone to try and work together on this. We're here for one common goal, and that's to try and find Stefanie.
Please, that's all we're asking.
That's all we're asking. Like I was taught in the Navy, either help or get out of the way. Either one. You know, that's the two choices, because I want my daughter home.
So Stefanie was 13 when she disappeared. She's since had a birthday, right? So she's 14 now?
Yes.
Did you guys celebrate the birthday at all?
We had our own family. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
I mean, she still has
Her birthday was always Halloween, and Halloween was not. She was our Halloween baby. Halloween was a very special holiday because of her.
So if you're just joining us, we're talking about Stefanie Damron, who went missing in New Sweden, Maine, September 24th, 2024. She was 13 years old at the time. She's now 14, approximately 5 foot, 130 pounds.
Yes.
Is there something that you would say, like if Stefanie's out there and she's watching this or listening to this, what would you want to say to Stefanie?
Please just come home. We love you. The family's not the same. None of us are the same. We're all missing a piece of our heart. We just need our baby home.
Or please get it. If she can contact anybody.
Or if she could just contact someone and let us know, hey, I'm all right, Mom and Dad. You know, let us know. Let us know what's going on. Like I even told her, I mean, I'm from West Virginia, so I don't expect everybody to understand. If she was 14, you know, about to turn 14, she fell in love with some boy and everything, and she wanted to hide out and everything until whatever. That's fine. Let us know what's going on so we can help and take care of her. We just, we need to be part of it.
And now that you Christopher and your wife have got a chance to speak to Chrissy here, hopefully you two can, like, maybe you can send a message to their group, or I know that you keep your stuff private, but you know, maybe you two could start working together. You guys could start working together, and you know, people really want to help you.
I actually had to say the stuff got so bad on my Facebook, the threats literally against my family on my Facebook, I had to set my Facebook to private, sir.
And I completely understand that, but I think you could send a message out to their page, and that would allow you to communicate without you having to unprivate. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you did with us.
Yes.
But I would just like to see more people trying to work together on this, and hopefully this has shown you that there are people that really do care. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff on social media, but there are people who genuinely just want to do the best.
Yes.
For Stefanie. So,
and believe it or not, sir, whether I've been in those groups or not, my wife is involved in all those groups, and she is basically my liaison. Anything that goes on in them groups, my wife is discussing it with me. I'm giving her my opinion. We're sitting up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning talking about them. So I am involved in all the groups. I have been from the very first day that they started popping up. I have been there asking my wife, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on?"
Yeah, and I'd like to be clear. I haven't had any reason personally to need to contact the parents. Neither of you have ever been contacted by me, and there are people in Team Stefanie that you do interact with, that you trust, that you are willing to speak to, and that's fine with most of us for communication purposes. I just wanted to make it clear that we are not supportive of people commenting on the parents' personal Facebook pages. We are not in support of people using their time on the internet, leaving hateful comments about anything to do with Stefanie or her family. If you have the time on the internet to be talking and sharing about Stefanie, then you could be doing that in a positive manner. But there is no good coming out of people who are in the community volunteering their time to turn things negative. It is not going to help find Stefanie. And it's not going to create an environment that makes her want to come home or come out of hiding. So,
and
and that's
Darcy
what
has
got
a
me
comment.
scared, is if she is hiding, all this negativity is, what is it going? It's not going to encourage her to come out.
Absolutely.
Darcy has a comment here. She says, "I don't know her and I miss her. I think of her often. My heart breaks for the family. I want to help somehow. I just don't know how. I didn't sleep for months and was up at 2 a.m. every morning." And I think that's how a lot of us are. Like, I think about her all the time, and I know the people on Team Stefanie, the people that run Letters to Stefanie Damron, those pages, they're all good people that just want to try to help, and they want to help bring Stefanie home.
Yes.
And I know not to turn this into more negative stuff, but just something that Letters to Stefanie Damron wanted to say was the Damron family was not responsible for making any of the threats against previous searchers. This has been misconstrued on social media, but Stefanie's parents did not engage in any threats. And someone else commented, "Thank you for clarifying." So I just wanted to make sure that was out there. And also, this is from Letters to Stefanie Damron. Says, "Yes, Letters to Stefanie and Team Stefanie will not promote aspects of this case that are not fact-based. Our goal is to only advocate for Stefanie and present accurate information."
And also, we will never ask for donations. We'll never ask for funds of any kind, monetary, of anything. We are not asking people for anything. If you have been approached and asked to donate items to the Damrons, that has nothing to do with us, and we will not ever be interfering with anything like that. So,
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, thank you for the people who are being supportive, and I'm happy to see that things have calmed down quite a bit in the comments. But I just thank you to everyone who's been here to show support. There's a lot of people in here watching tonight.
We weren't prepared. We didn't know if anyone from the family would come on tonight, and our priority really was to communicate information about Spring Search and what volunteers can do.
Oh. I lost her.
Oh, just lost Christy.
Sorry, I have a child who just came in and decided to interrupt with her.
That's fine.
I would just like to thank everybody that is staying positive and that is trying to help find her, because eventually we're going to find her. It's just, we're not giving up. We're going to find her. She belongs home.
I just want to make it clear that I know you said you're disabled and you have a difficult time getting out and about to search. And if there are areas nearby to you or not that you are desperate to have searchers go to now or in the future, that you can reach out to Team Stefanie. That we do have volunteers who are physically able to go and search areas in New Sweden and beyond. And if anything comes up and you feel you need the support or you need physical searchers, people are here and we're willing to help, and we're more than happy to be the boots on the ground.
There is one place that it seems to be, everybody seems to avoid it for some reason, that I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna be miserable to search, but that it's just, there's this one spot that if anything was, God, this is hard for me to even freaking swallow. If anything was bad to have happened to her, it would have happened here. And I cannot get, the only thing that anybody will tell me is, oh, we can't get up in there.
So where's that? Is that close to your house?
Yes, it's about, if you go down our road, okay, once you drive by our driveway, if you go down about a half mile, there's a road. Well, Westmoreland comes out on the West Road. Well, where Westmoreland comes up, if you take a left there, you come up to a spot. It's a real wide spot. All the kids hang out there. They party. There's burnt tire tracks all over the ground all the time and everything. And there's a great big, like, I don't know if you want to call it a sludge pond, a pond, or what, but there's a guardrail area there and everything.
And state
and there's
police
a road.
Won't look there?
I don't know if the police have completely looked there or if they have looked as well as they need to there.
And is this someplace you're thinking is visible from the road, or would be get down and dirty, we're going into them woods?
No, you can get to it from the road. That God, this is real hard. If it was honestly, if you wanted to drop a body, that would be the perfect place to drop a body. There, I said it.
Me and my son have searched some of the place, but not all the way back in.
That was not easy to say.
Yeah, and then beyond that area for you right now, that would be the priority. If spring searchers were going to
and this spring, me and my wife are going to start searching another area that we did not know existed, but apparently there's a pond between here and Fort Kent. In between, there's Soldier Pond, and then there's another pond after Soldier Pond that's back in the woods that you have to really know is there and how to get to it. And that's where me and my wife will be searching this spring, because she was always talking about some old guy in a cabin.
Okay. And
Stefanie was talking about. I'm sorry, Stefanie was talking about an old guy.
Yes. And this old guy supposedly gave her a knife and $5 and would always stop and talk to her and everything when she was up there doing firewood and everything at the top of the driveway.
And you told the police department, FBI, this?
Yes.
Was he interviewed?
And they did what they had to do with it. I don't know where it went. I'm not, like I said, it's an open investigation. I can't go into all the details of it.
And then I'm curious, are both of those locations you just mentioned, are they within walking distance from your home?
For Stefanie, they would be.
They would be, yeah. Okay. So I think it's safe to say we can make sure that locations are checked this spring. We are working with Jared and letting him know where searchers intend to go and making sure that we have permission to go there from property owners before we go.
Okay.
So you would probably be notified, or someone would be notified before anyone just heads out there. I think we can definitely say that we will go to those places. Beyond physical searching on the ground, is there anything that you think volunteers could be doing to help you guys? Is it just sharing photos? Is it continuing to get online and on media and try and get her face out there? Or is it really to just shut up?
Everybody is doing everything great. I mean, all you people are doing great things. I mean, everybody's trying to help, but you guys are getting drowned out and grayed out by all the negativity. All I really want, and the number one thing that's going to help find Stefanie more than anything, is to quit concentrating on judgments. Let's just concentrate on Stefanie. If you want to judge us after the fact. But right now, let's get Stefanie home. Let's quit judging people. Let's keep talking about it on the social media. Let's keep posting the Facebooks. Let's keep doing these podcasts. Let's keep doing the searches. All of it. It needs to keep going. Just let's quit talking shit about each other and let's do our job.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really sorry you guys are going through all this. I can't imagine. I mean, we talk to people all the time who are sort of in this situation, but it's obviously not the same for
honestly,
us
sir,
'cause
it
it's not our
doesn't phase.
family.
It doesn't. Honestly, as a man, it doesn't phase me. But what it's doing to my wife and kids, I can't. I mean, I can't just sit back and just be quiet no more.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, do you want to bring up Google Earth? We got to finish up here soon, but would you be able to bring up Google Earth? And so
I
maybe
mean, I don't even know where this is, man. Gonna take a few minutes. I also don't really want to give out like their
that's
home
true.
location on here, so
And I think Pam's asking about the old guy in the woods. Was that the man they call the uncle? No, that's not. That's somebody new that I hadn't heard about. He's living up in a cabin up in the woods behind your house, and he's giving Stefanie things, you said? Oh, is he still on here? Christopher?
oh, we might have lost him.
We can still see him, but
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
So the old guy in the woods that lived in the cabin, he used to give stuff to Stefanie.
He
That's not the
doesn't.
one.
He doesn't. No, the old guy is the guy that everybody's looking for. That it supposedly drove a truck very similar to my wife's truck, but had a double cab. Had some kind of decal in the back window. Now, the cabin in the woods is something that her and Star have talked about several times. That there's supposedly some cabin around here in the woods.
But not necessarily his cabin.
Not necessarily his cabin, though.
All right.
And now, I did want to ask the day that Stefanie went missing, when you came home and you spent that evening contacting neighbors, driving up and down the road, did you check with Andrew to see if she had gone there?
Yes, she hadn't.
And he hadn't seen her at all?
No.
Okay.
All right, I guess we can try to wrap this up here. Christopher, thank you so much for joining us. I know the public
And
appreciates
your
you
family
guys
as well.
coming out and clarifying things for us. So thank you so much.
And Christy, thank you for everything that you're doing. Like, it's awesome.
Yes, thank you, guys. Thank everybody. I mean, thank all of you for everything. I mean, God bless you. I mean, I hope nothing but good comes to you guys.
And you guys as well. Like, that's, I mean, I can't imagine what you guys are going through, but I hope you guys can stay strong, and hopefully, you guys can get the help that you need for this. And obviously, we're going to share out anytime that there's any sort of updates, or, if you want to reach out to us and put a message out there, we're more than willing to do that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching tonight, and thank you both for joining us. Everyone have a good night and stay safe, and let's try to bring Stefanie home.
Yeah, let's start working together. All right. Thank you guys, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. I'll get the video, Travis.
Thank you.
Can I just...
5-year-old Taylor Williams led investigators to Alabama this week.
So we have some breaking news from Florida. An arrest has been made in
Tonight, after
connection.
years of agony, a glimmer of hope for the family.
Investigators spent hours searching through this house off Pennsylvania Avenue.
What could be a major development in the search for missing Alabama teenager.
Tonight, a stunning twist in the search for Taylor.
Somebody out there knows something.
They want to lay him to rest their way, not by somebody else's way.